سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, indeed, I enjoin upon you and upon myself the fear of Allah Ta'ala. Inshallah, in today's sermon, we will be focusing on some of the lessons of the particular verse of the glorious Quran, precisely verse 41 of Surah Al-Room, that is Surah 30 of the glorious Quran. In that noble verse, Allah Ta'ala is saying, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. In this noble verse of the glorious Quran, Allah Ta'ala is drawing our attention to the state of our environment in terms of things we don't like the situation we are all facing now. Allah Ta'ala in this noble verse of the Quran says, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر. He said, evil, have engulfed the, al-barri, the land, wal-bahr, and the sea. As a result of what? He said, بما كسبت أيدي الناس. As a result of the handiwork of the people. Today, we are facing all kinds of challenges. Insecurity, economic problem. Mention anything. Mostly there is what? There's problem inside. And everybody is complaining. Everybody is crying. But no one has solution. Virtually, the leaders, the led, the rich, and the poor, the educated and the uneducated, virtually we are all the same. Because no one has solution to give. Everyone can only identify the problem. Why? Because we refuse to look or go back to the person who will give us the solution. Take for instance, if we look at this verse of the Quran, what did Allah say? He said, بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. As a result of the handwork of what? The people. He did not say as a result of the handwork of the leaders. And he did not say as a result of the handwork of what? Those being led. He did not say as a result of the handwork of the poor or the handwork of what? The rich. Because within every circle, you have those destroying the society. Within every circle. The only thing is that no circle wants to be considered as what? Being responsible. And that is why you will see that every circle are defending their own self. But for us to get out of the situation until we are ready to what? To search for the truth, accept the truth, and walk with the truth. Because nothing saves us except what? The truth. And like I mentioned to us in one of the sermons before, there's no way you can have a safe society when the people are more conscious of the world itself more than the hereafter. I usually tell us this. When you have a society that are more conscious of enjoying the world, not mindful of the consequences of the hereafter, then they suffer here and suffer in the hereafter. And when you have a society that is more conscious of the hereafter, but I did not say at the expense of the world. Yes, if they are more conscious of the hereafter, more than their level of consciousness of the world, they will save the world and they will save their hereafter. Because when you look in the Quran, when Allah Ta'ala is talking about those destroying the world, committing mischief, destroying the world, Allah said in the Quran, لَهُمْ خِزْيٌ فِي الدُّنْيا. For example, in the verse of the Quran, Allah Ta'ala is saying, إِنَّمَا جَزَاءُ الَّذِينَ يُحَارِبُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَسْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا أَنْ يُصَلَّبُوا أَوْ يُقَطَّعُوا أو أن يصلبوا أو يقتلوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض ذلك لهم خزي في الدنيا ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم. So when you look at the verse, Quran has made everything explicitly clear. Allah said in the verse of the Quran, ماذا بعد الحق بعد الحق إلا الضلال. Nothing comes afterward, truth except what? Falsehood. We can't change our society until we begin to identify our problems. And virtually each and every one of us have a role to play. Because the way the world looks is determined by the way we behave. And like sometimes the scholars usually remind us, you will discover that the more the level of influence with the creatures of Allah, the more the level of influence we have on anything in this world, the more the damage. And the lesser the level of influence, then the lesser what? The damage. It is the more the level of influence we have, the more the damage we will make. And the lesser the level of influence we have, the more the damage. I take for example, the angels, because they don't have any influence on their own life, 100%, that makes them to be what? Clean. Allah says, لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. And actually all human believe angels are what? Are good. So when you exhibit certain good qualities, they say he is what? He's an angel. But when we look at the world today, and like I said, it doesn't matter what colors, what faith, whatever anyone is in. Virtually, we are all doing the same damage. Take for instance, some of us may feel the white ones are better than the black ones. They are not better in any way. The only thing, everyone have a place is doing his own damage. You need some level of intelligence to discover everyone's damage. Because everybody is driven by the same thing. What is driving you, the black, that is not allowing you to do what you're supposed to do, is the same thing driving the white, and he also is not doing what he's supposed to do. Like I said to us, in terms of leadership, the way you think your leaders have failed, that's how the European leaders have also failed. Because they have more control as to how the world goes more than the black. One mistake from their part will affect your own banks, your own country, even if you do the right thing. One mistake from one of them will damage your own country as a whole. Because in most cases, the kind of leader you have connection with whom they accept. Because when you have the best leaders, sometimes they don't want those ones. So everyone have the way he does his own damage. You, the smaller one, have your way you do your damage. They at the top have their own way of damaging you also. If you say your leaders are stealing, that's the black, right? Then the person keeping is the white. So the one stealing and the one keeping are the same. You can arrest an armed robber and you what? Free the one who is keeping the loot, while knowing this thing is what? It's robbery proceed. In any country, if they arrest the armed robber, the person keeping the proceed of the robbery is also guilty of the crime, so long as he's aware of what? Of the source. And they are aware, because most of us believe they are more intelligent than us. And that means when you are dropping there, they know where you are getting it from. Except if you also say they also don't have that intelligence. You can say, okay, they too, when things are coming, they don't also know. Today, like I said, in terms of failure of leadership, yes, today, Libya is worse than Gaddafi's time. So that means your own was doing damage there, and they feel he is doing damage. So when they came in to correct the damage, then the damage they made is more than his own damage. They've made the place what? Worse than how Gaddafi made it. So if Gaddafi destroyed it, or was destroying it, then they finished it. Because if they are more intelligent, their own intervention was supposed to be what? To make the place better. Because you don't change an environment, or you don't change a system when you don't have something better to put in place. Yes, Gaddafi, Iraq, Saddam, Hussein, yes, let's say he is doing what? He was destroying what? Iraq, if we say so, right? So when they want to remove him and to bring what? Freedom to the people. So they've given the freedom, right? So you now have Iraq of Saddam better than Iraq of what? US. Because the current Iraq is Iraq of US, not Iraq of Saddam. Yes, go to any place. Why? What I want us to understand here is this. I'm not saying the white are evil and the black are good. But what I'm saying is that all of us think the same. Because Allah told us in the Quran, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. Because that person you say he is destroying, he was destroying it because he's more conscious of the world than the hereafter. So the one coming to say he also want to come and make change, he's also coming for his own personal interest, not for the interest of the people, not for making the world better. And usually, anything built on selfishness, the end result is what? Is suffering. It's just like in a family. The most ideal family is a family that the wife thinks of the rest members of the family before thinking of herself. It's a family that the husband thinks of his wife, his children, before thinking of his own self. It's a family that the child thinks of his parents before thinking of his need. But let us watch our even immediate family today. Today, you as a father, to your son, to your daughter, their own need comes first. If you like, die. It doesn't matter to them. Your property is more important to them than your person. If you are wealthy, you are just like a gate man. You are protecting the property for them. That's how they look at you. Yes. And you will understand better the day you die. Because the day you die, they will not bother to dig deep to find out whom you are owing, because that is your liability. That is what Allah will ask you about. What concerns them is how to share the property. If care is not taken, some will even start looting it before they talk of what? Sharing it. They will start killing themselves because of what? The property. Because in the first place, they were waiting for that opportunity. The man is more concerned about himself more than his what? His family also. And the wife is more concerned about herself more than what? Than the family. That's what Allah said about تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, each and every one of us, as individual, as a group, let's begin to check within our own circle, what damage are we making? If you want the other person to control or to correct his own, then you begin to now check how you correct your own. Like I do usually say to us, no one is perfect. But as a Muslim, work towards being 100% upright. That should be your effort. Don't work to be 99% upright. Work to be 100% upright, but you can never be 100% upright. So, effort to be 100% upright, it makes you to be 60, 70, 80, 90% upright, and you are guaranteed Jannah. Because Allah did not promise Jannah for those who are 100% upright. Because He did not create us that way. We are human. So we have our shortcomings. And I usually tell us the definition of a righteous person. The definition of a righteous person from my own little knowledge is someone whose evil is lesser than his good, or someone whose good outweighs the evil. And if our good outweighs our evil, definitely the society will be better than what it is. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, whether as a politician, whether as a businessman, whether as a civil servant, whether as a husband, as a wife, as a daughter, as a son, as anything, business owner, the issue, begin to ask yourself, what damage are you doing within yourself? How can you minimize it? How can you reduce it? Talk more about yourself more than talking more about others. Because one of the challenges we have now is most of us are searching the error of other people, but we forget ourselves. I'm not saying it is wrong to correct your brother, but check yourself more than checking others. Because Allah will ask you about yourself first before asking you about anybody. That's why even Allah, when He's commanding you to what? To save yourself from hell, He didn't ask you to save your family first. Allah told you in the verse of the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, Qu anfusakum. Save yourselves. Wa ahlikum nar. And your family from where? From the hell. You can't save somebody if you are dead. They say, Faqidu shay'i la yu'tihi. One who lacks something can never offer it. You can't save others, but you can save yourself. You can guide others if you are not on the right path. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to come together to save our communities, to save our country, to save our world. It is our responsibility. Like I do say to us, yes, we are not saying any race. No race is more evil than any race. In every race, there are good ones and there are bad ones. And all of us, the damage we make are different. So that is why if you are condemning another person for something, then you also begin to search yourself. May Allah Ta'ala put us among those who will save our environment, who will be conscious of the hereafter more than this world. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله العظيم الجليل لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب وخطيئة فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. My brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to go back to Allah Ta'ala. Like I said, ultimately, the one who is in control of our affairs is Allah. If whatever Allah has written for you, nobody can do right. If Allah decides to change Nigeria, nobody can stop it. And if He decides to destroy it, nobody can save it. And what will make Him to save our country, what will make Him to save our communities is by what? Being submissive to Him. Being submissive to Allah Ta'ala. And like I do tell us, being submissive to Allah, that doesn't mean change your name from John to Muhammad. I usually give us some of this clear example. It does not mean spend more time inside mosque. But what it means is what? Let your life conform to the Quran. In the market, in the office, on the road, within your family, you should be somebody that every action of yours is driven by the Quran. And one thing I guarantee us, wallahi, let the government leave everything the way they are now, exactly, without making a single change. Wallahi, the day we submit ourselves to Allah, the country will change far, far beyond what you see, without the government altering anything. That's one thing you are guaranteed of. Why? Like I said, if you have a Muslim who decides to submit himself to Allah, the day he enters his office, he will remember that Allah is going to ask him to account for everything he has done while occupying that office. So he's not going to do the right thing because he's afraid of anybody. He's going to do the right thing because he knows someone is there documenting everything he does. And a day is going to come that he cannot deceive that person. And that is who? Allah Ta'ala. So on his own, he will do some things that he's supposed to do. Or as a civil servant, you will be comfortable that yes, when you drop your file before somebody, you don't need to call him, you don't need to remind him, you don't need to drop anything before he signs your file. Because you will remember that the day he delay your file for 1 second, yes, Allah will ask him on the day of judgment for that. Yes, the file you refuse to sign, you delay for 1 second. That 1 second, you will answer it. Why? Because that 1 second suffered somebody. You will go to the hospital, you will have the best treatment because the doctor knows that any life that is wasted as a result of his negligence, Allah will ask him. He's not just working, it is his life. Because what is Islam is your life entire. It is not just mosque. Islam, one mosque is one thing. If you look at Islam, the Messenger told us in Hadith that Islam is built. He did not say Islam is 5 pillars. He said Islam is built upon 5 pillars. So Salah is a pillar. It's not the entire Islam. 1 pillar. Salah is 1 pillar. Hajj, 1. Fasting, Zakah, and what? The Shahada. They are pillars. That means there are other things. And those things are your behavior. Because the Prophet clearly told us in the Hadith that he said, I have been sent. For what? He said, to fulfill makarim al-akhlaq, noble character. And I usually remind us of this. The more, if you want to know your level of righteousness, check your character. It's a simple yardstick. The Prophet said to us in a hadith that akmalul mu'minina imana, the one who is best, the one who is perfect in what? In faith among the believers. He said who? He said ahsanuhum khuluqa, the best in character. He did not say the best in salah. He did not say the best in fasting. He did not say the best in what? In hajj. But the best in what? In character. And that is why the mercy, the kindness a lady showed to a dog who was a prostitute. If they ask you zina, will take somebody where? Hell. But Allah saved that lady and gave her Jannah because she gave water to a dog. But today your fellow human being, unfortunately, when some of them will still call themselves Muslims, somebody gave water to a dog, he will catch his own fellow human being and he will keep the person for days without adequate food, without adequate water, because he's looking for money that at the end of the day, when you even check him, you cannot even see the sign of the money in his body. Because sometimes you even used to see sometimes on videos when they say this person is arrested as a kidnapper. Sometimes they look somehow, haggard, even like those people, the way they treat those people, that's how they also look. They don't look normal. You don't see sign of comfort or enjoyment in them. You will call yourself Muslim. Like I said, I mentioned before, if it is for government, continue to do your evil. It doesn't make any difference. Because government cannot determine whether you will enter Jannah or enter hell. But remember, Allah will determine whether you will enter Jannah or you will what? Enter hell. And He have told you what not He doesn't want you to. So you as a Muslim, leave those things, like I said, not because of the government, leave it for the sake of your maker. That is Allah Ta'ala. Is any problem you think you are facing, Allah will save you out of it. Put your hope in Allah. Put your hope in Allah. But if you feel there are certain things the government is supposed to do for you, and they have not done, then face the government. So why face the innocent people? And even if you want to face the government as a Muslim, face the government according to the guidance of Allah. That's what makes you a Muslim. A Muslim is someone who fights for his right in conformity with the Quran and forgive his rights in conformity to the Quran. You do your things in conformity to the Quran. Allah says, whoever someone offends you, Allah says, فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. If someone transgresses against you, he gave you the permission. If you want, he said, transgress against the person exactly the way he transgressed against you. Exactly. Someone does you harm. You don't want to forgive, no problem. But the permission Allah gave you is to go and retaliate, but exactly with what He did to you. But some of us are acting devilishly, and you keep using that as what? Excuse, as what? You use those things as what? Revenge. The one Allah gave you permission, if you can give exactly back. Because when you add, then you become the oppressor. And Allah will hold you accountable. If someone stole your 1,000, if you will not forgive them, steal his own what? 1,000. If you steal 1,100 naira, Allah will hold you accountable for that 100 naira. Then because Allah will back you when He oppressed you, then you too, Allah will back you when you oppress Him. Because Allah is always behind the one that is being oppressed. So the oppressor sometimes can end up being the one oppressed, depending on how things go. May Allah Ta'ala guide us all right. Because righteous people who will be, people that build our society, save our society, not those who will become part of what? Destructors. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم لا تجعلنا في مقامنا هذا من إلا غفرت ولا هم إلا غفرت لا قبل لنا فاصبر علينا إلا قضيته ولا عسيرا إلا ستر ولا عدوا إلا خذلته ولا مبتلا إلا عافيت ولا ميتا إلا رحمت ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا عنتنا على قضائها ستر برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم بعلمك الغيب وقدرتك على خلقك حين ما علمت حياتك خيرا لنا وتوفنا إذا علمت الوفاة خيرا لنا. اللهم إنا نسألك الغيب والشهادة ونسألك كلمة الحق والرضا والبطل ونسألك في الغنى والفقر ونسألك نعيما لا ينفد ونسألك قرة عين لا تنقطع ونسألك الرضا بعد القضاء ونسألك برد العيش بعد الموت ونسألك لذة النظر إلى وجه شوق إلى لقائك في غير ضراء مضرة إلا اللهم زينا بزينة الإيمان واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. ربنا إننا آمنا فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر